Mike Bomber, I don't know if he's here. He sent me a little story this week that I want to share with you. There was a church breakfast that was going on, and the pastor asked this old guy in bib overalls to say the prayer. And so he closed his eyes and he says, "Lord, you know that I hate buttermilk." And the pastor kind of looked at him like, "Ooh." And he said, "And Lord, you know that I hate raw white flour." And the pastor's like getting a little uncomfortable. I don't know where this is going to go, right? "And Lord, you know that I hate lard." And the pastor looks at him and he sees that everybody else is kind of squirming too, like, this doesn't sound much like a prayer. And he says, "But Lord, I know when you mix those things all together, I just love warm biscuits. So Lord, I know that when things are out of my control, when things I don't know where it's going. There's lots of change. I don't know what's going to happen next. I don't understand. I know that you're not done mixing things up yet. And I'll bet when you're done, it's going to be better than biscuits." Amen. So we're in that kind of phase right now, right? We're seeing some things maybe we don't like, maybe we do. We don't know where it's going. We don't know how things will unfold. We don't know. We just know it's different and it's change. And so we're invited to stay humble and kind, as the song said, as they so beautifully sung. Stay humble and kind. We had some people here in this community 31 years ago, as both Rachel and Ann mentioned, who had a vision. I'm sure they didn't know where this was going to go. They didn't know how it was going to unfold. But they knew that some change was coming. They knew that they had a vision of a community. Maybe not this exact community. Maybe hopefully they weren't attached to it turning out exactly a certain way, but they had a vision. And on Thursday was our 31st anniversary of Columbine. And so anybody who was here, not in this building because this wasn't here, but was part of this community in the first 5 to 10 years, please stand because you held this vision for us. What a beautiful vision you had, and we're all reaping the benefits of this community that's thriving, that we have lots of families and lots of kids, and I'm feeling a little emotional today over this all because I feel so blessed to be part of this community for the last 12 years. So we're studying, and this is our last week of our fall program, The Sacred Art of Loving Kindness. I bet when the founders decided to start a new community, they didn't know we'd be studying a book by a rabbi. Did you? But this has been a fantastic series. I hope you've enjoyed it. We're talking about the 13 attributes of loving kindness. And we've been through 12 of them already. Today is the final one, and this final one is cleansing yourself of delusion. We all have delusions. We all do. But we need to cleanse ourselves. We need to fully see in order to experience loving kindness, in order to express from that place of loving kindness. We have to see people and ourselves as full expressions of God. Just as they are. Not trying to get them to change, although maybe we want some of them to change a little bit. But that's not the point. The point is that Shapiro says that we're not here to cleansing delusion, a true cleansing. let me get my words straight. A true cleansing does not mean removing anything, but looking into the true nature of everything. And the whole point of it is we don't need to be somebody different, to be loved, to be worthy. Just because we exist, we are that. We are loved, we are worthy, we are valued. We don't have to change anything. We need to change the need to think we have to change. That's the delusion. He says, you are a perfect image of the one true reality. But when you look in a mirror, you don't see that image. Most of us don't see this in ourselves. We don't see it. We don't realize our own potential. We don't realize our own magnificence. But you, each of you, are magnificent, just as you are. So cleanse yourself of the delusion that you need to change. Would you have more joy, more peace, more love in your life, maybe if you let go of some of those things? Yes. But it doesn't mean you're not loved just the way you are. So I've got a service assistant today, Reverend Dr. Heather Shea. She is new to our community since June or July, and she's got a story to share about delusion. She's an interfaith ordained minister, and happy to have you want to come on over here, Heather.
Thank you. Good morning. Good morning. It is wonderful to be here. And I'm really just so grateful that everyone has accepted me and welcomed me into this community. And I was delighted when Reverend said, would you be willing to speak, tell a story during this loving kindness session? I said, sure. And she said, the topic is delusion. Like, delusion. How about truth or gratitude or something? Delusion. So what is delusion? Delusion is a false belief. It's a false belief that can be getting in the way of our authentic self. And I recently had an encounter with a very unexpected teacher. Photo? Felina. Felina is an 8-year-old beautiful horse. She's a combination, the Spanish breed Andalusian and the Portuguese breed Lusitano. And they are known for their sensitivity, their intelligence, and their agility and energy. Now, as you can tell, Felina also kind of has this sassy attitude going. She's kind of got this all-knowing teenager thing. Felina. So, I'm an animal communicator and energy healer and practitioner. And for a couple of days, I had been working with Felina and the other horses on her ranch. And it was a wonderful experience. And as I was getting ready to leave, my associate, Lauren Mohan, said, Felina has indicated that now she wants to work with you. Like, oh. And Lauren is a Gestalt therapy coach. And I'd heard about the equine partnered therapy and coaching, and I thought, well, why not? So Lauren said, why don't you sit down? And Felina was here, and she looked at me. And she kind of tilted her head. And she came over, and if we have the next slide, she put her head down by my right leg, kind of flipped her mane, put her head down by my left leg, and then kind of in dismissal, turned around and walked out. That was it. And then I started to smile. And I started to laugh. In an instant, she had discovered one of my greatest illusions, my health. My health. And Lauren asked me kind of to turn around, which I did. And I started telling her my tale of woe. Now, I had been a sickly child. I have had illnesses, injuries, accidents, long time in the hospital. And as I was telling my story, I heard this behind me. Now, Lauren started to smile. She said, "Turn around." And I looked around, and behind me, Felina was going whoomp, whoomp, back and forth, hair flying, back and forth. She wasn't buying my story. Not at all. Yeah. And at that moment, I had a realization, and I discovered I was living my old story. I had gotten comfortable living with illness and my belief of my illness, rather than focusing on my health. And at that moment, I had an epiphany. I was standing surrounded by gorgeous horses in the mountains, gorgeous, sunny day. I was happy. And I realized my pain and the past had brought me to this presence, in this presence of my true nature of health, wholeness, and happiness. And Lauren said, "Why don't you sit down again?" I sat down. Felina was right in front of me. Next slide. This time she gracefully came over and she put her face by mine, kind of like a little horsey kiss. And then on the other side, she put her face right next to mine. And we stood looking at each other with this soft gaze. And I realized that my cloud of delusion had dissipated and disappeared. And it's never returned. I got this book in the awesome bookstore here. The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse. When have you been your strongest, the boy asked. When I dared to show my weakness. Asking for help isn't giving up, said the horse. It's refusing to give up. Thank you.
Thanks, Heather. It's a sweet story of how we often don't see ourselves as whole and complete. We're in delusion. Shapiro says, or Jesus says in the book of Gospel according to Matthew, "Be perfect as your heavenly Father is perfect." It doesn't mean without blemish. It doesn't mean without flaw. It means to recognize your wholeness, your humanity. We came here to be human beings. We came into this life, into this body, to experience all that humans experience. This is the whole point. Not to have everything go perfectly all the time and always get our way, because how do we grow if we're comfortable? We don't, because we're comfortable. We're not willing to take that next step when we're comfortable. So things happen that push us out of that comfort zone. So Shapiro says that the biggest obstacle to loving kindness is anger. That when we're in a place of anger, we can't possibly be kind. I found this graph yesterday, that a thermometer to show your emotions, like where are you on the emotional thermometer, the feelings thermometer. Anger's at the very top. When you're really, red and you just can't, you need to like punch something, a pillow or something, or go for a run, something. Last night, I'm going to share something that I'm not going to give you the details, so see if you can just accept it without all the details. Last night, I was upstairs in my office preparing for today, and Kevin did something that really got me to that red anger stage. He didn't do anything wrong. He didn't do anything wrong. It was my own reactivity to something he did and I created a story about it. I'm up in my office creating this story and saying, no, we're working on loving kindness. Don't create the story. But, we're humans. And I created this story, and I went downstairs to prove myself right. And I was angry, and I slammed down my book on the table, and I let him know how angry I was. Not pretty. I stomped back up the stairs, went into my office, and read a book of Psalms. That didn't help too much. When you're in that phase, you really need to do something a little more physical. But it's funny because I was reading this material and saying, I haven't been that angry in a long time where I can't be kind. Boy, does Spirit let you know. Okay, you're human too. So I was going to bed, and Kevin was still downstairs, and we have an electric mattress pad that heats our bed up, and it's dual controlled. So, I turn my side on, and I look at his side. I don't know if I'm going to turn that on. I don't want to turn it on. I'm angry with him. I'm not going to turn that on. And what Shapiro says about anger is you just have to turn away. Like, it's not easy to do when you're in that state, and I can testify to that firsthand within the last 12 hours. But just turn away. Just turn away. And so I pushed his heater on, and I felt a whole lot better about myself. But this, anger shows up to inform us of something, to inform. And when we're willing to look at it, it's usually something that we need to take care of for ourselves. And for me, one of the things that comes up for me a lot is self-love, or lack of. And so I wasn't giving myself enough self-care this week. This is a busy week. I wasn't giving myself enough self-care. I wasn't giving myself enough kindness. And we all need that. We all have to do that. And we all have to regulate that for ourselves and whatever our needs are in the moment, so that we don't get to the anger. Now, anger's going to come. It's part of the human experience. We're going to experience anger. But we don't want to stay there. Our feelings are good to inform us, but we don't want to stay stuck in them. We want to look for the lesson. We want to look for the good. Sharon Salzberg, in her book, Loving Kindness, that Heather actually gifted me, talks about an exercise called seeing goodness. And the exercise is, think of somebody you don't like. Think of somebody you don't agree with. Think of somebody that's maybe in hopefully not your family, but maybe in your family, maybe in your circle, maybe somebody you've never met personally, maybe somebody in this room, I don't know, but somebody that you don't like, and look for one good thing. One good thing. Because everybody has one good thing in them. Now, that doesn't change how we feel about them. It doesn't change the behaviors that grind on us or, get us frustrated with them. But it expands our minds. It allows us to operate in spacious mind where we can, for a moment, see them in a different light. And Sharon talked about how she had a coworker that his behavior was just so grinding on everyone. And then there was another coworker who announced to the staff that she had just been diagnosed with a disease that was going to be probably very painful, maybe fatal. And she happened to witness this coworker that she didn't like, give a lot of compassion to this other one. And she said it opened her mind to him in a new way. It didn't change any of the behaviors that she didn't like about him. But she was in spacious mind when she thought about him. She could go to a place where she could feel good about, look at what compassion he showed to this woman. We can do that too. That's what this cleansing of delusion is all about. It's not changing anybody. It's not making sure they stop behaving a certain way or change. It's none of that. It's loving them in spite of it. Loving ourselves in spite of the flaws we see. We need more kindness in this world. We need more kindness in our country. We need more kindness, period. More kindness. Rami Shapiro talks about how in Judaism, in the Hasidic, there's a myth or a legend. I'm not really quite sure if it's true, if it's a teaching of theirs, but that there has to be always 36 people that are doing acts of kindness in the world for the world to maintain itself. Because otherwise our fear, our resentment, our anger will just destroy us all. That we have to have at least 36 people doing acts of kindness at any one moment. And these people are anonymous. They're called Lamed Vavniks. Lamed means 30, it's the Hebrew number, and Vav is 6, 36, which is the number for twice life. People who make the world a kinder place for themselves and for someone else. 2 lives. And so these Lamed Vavniks do acts of kindness. It's an invitation for all of us. What if at any point you're it? You're the Lamed Vavnik. You're the person that the whole world is resting their weight on, their shoulders on your shoulders. What if that person that you want to not turn his heater on is one of the hidden ones? Would you want to do something unkind towards that person? And so we never know who these 36 are. So why not allow ourselves to be kind? Why not? Kindness is so good for our immune system, for our blood pressure, for our mental health. It's good for us. And so we are the ones here, whether we're one of the 36 or maybe we're the 37th. Be kind. I found this video a few weeks ago about kids. It was a National Kindness Speech Contest for kids. And kids all around the world sent in videos of what kindness was to them. And it brings a smile to my face, and it gives me so much hope for our future when kids are talking about kindness and how important it is. So I want to close with this. So let's
What if one person smiled and then that person said good morning to that person opened the door for someone? You can share kindness just like the domino effect.
As Gandhi said, be the change you want to see in the world.
Look at someone and smile.
The first rule of kindness is to be kind to yourself. Kindness is a trait that everyone has. Some people just haven't unlocked it yet.
Kindness is always important, especially now with the pandemic. Even though we are quarantined, we can still be kind while at home or out wearing a mask.
So I'm asking you, you be kind, be a problem solver.
You have brains in your head, you have a heart in your chest. You know which acts of kindness are best.
We don't realize that kindness is not only about being kind to human beings, but also for the other living creatures.
It is your opportunity to make a difference.
And when my little sister was mad or sad, when I did, I hugged her up, said nice words, and made her feel better.
I know it's hard to come up with something big, so don't. Something little can change the world.
Kindness will always return to you, so spread it.
Kindness is a simple manner. If I want to talk in class, I'll raise my hand. Do you know nearly 1 out of 5 students being bullied? Impacting over 5 million kids every year. Can you imagine it? If you see some cute duckies and Canada gooses, that one that is crossing the road, you can stop your car, let them pass first, and then drive again.
Know this, understand, take action. N-U-T.
If you see someone alone on the playground without somebody to play with, you can go ask them if you want to play together.
We need to be selfless and at times sacrifice for others' good.
Look at the youth around the world. They have a message for us, for all of us to come together in unity for one cause, one mission, to make our world a better place. Our world needs all of you now more than ever before to rise up and to help one another and realize we are all going through hard times. We all have battles that we are facing every single day, but if we come together, we not only win those battles, but win in life as well. The time is now.
Will you join me in setting off your inner stars that are just waiting to shine? Show the world your sky. Be kind.
If you be kind, then we can make the world a better place. I'm counting on you.
Yeah, that was so cute. And so we conclude this fall program today, but I hope you don't let it stop your practicing the loving kindness, the 13 attributes. Take one of them. Can anybody name them all? Yeah. Take one and practice it. Maybe one per week, one per month, whatever. This is such important work, and we're the ones to do it. So be kind to each other and kind to yourself. Namaste.